they just won.
And it was usually this team, right? Like
Team Liquid
on the screen right now.
Yeah.
It was Team Liquid usually that they played the best of 5 against.
And I think every series that they play in the lower bracket, they just seem stronger, one series after the other. And the strongest showing was like the latest series they played against arguably the toughest opponent.
So did their games literally go from 41 minutes, 27, and then I think it went shorter.
Dude, it's like 21 minute stomps now, you know?
Yes,
like they're just
running
playing
faster and faster. And
Did they unlock
shorter.
something? What happened?
I think they got some good understanding of their heroes, and they're no longer like, you know, riding some meta wave. They're creating the meta wave themselves, or breaking it, whatever you want to call it, right? They're picking their own things. They're going back to Chen and Ench, which I was just talking to Seb about. There's very few players in the world that actually play Chen and Ench, and there's very few that will play it well, and there's even fewer that will play well in a team, right? Or that can make it work as a team. And they're right now showing that this shit is like the other years. You pick Chen, you can end the game. It doesn't matter the tier 3 buff. It doesn't matter all this stuff. You might have to do more things.
Yeah.
Like they're picking Chen Weaver. They're picking some other stuff. They had the Ench Huskar, I think, together. Like, yeah.
It's not only about the heroes, right? It's about how they play with the Chen and Ench, right?
It is about the heroes, but it's so much about how you execute.
Yeah.
It's the execution that matters more than anything. Otherwise, people would try to copy this. And they are the only ones who are playing Lone Druid, I think, at this level, and playing Chen and Ench at all at this level. I know that Poshka also can play it. And I think maybe he even played Chen once this tournament.
I mean, he played a lot of Ench and he got
He
first
played a lot of
phase,
Ench.
yeah. I haven't seen Chen,
This will be very contested, very cool to see.
Yeah.
But
Like some players that play Ench a lot, they don't play Chen that much.
Yeah.
You know, it happens.
But Poshka plays Chen, but I don't think he plays it as much and probably as well as Celery and Gaming do.
But you're getting way ahead of yourself, because there's somebody has something to say about Poshka facing Celery.
Yes.
I don't know if you heard about him.
Oh, I know.
He's
I
okay,
know.
like he has good ideas.
He has Chen phobia, bro. He woke up today like cold sweat 5 times.
I would, like, if I had to pick a team to be able to, like, out of the last 3 teams, if I had to pick a team to be able to break anything in Dota, I would pick LGD over even the other 2.
Even the Chen and Ench, like I would agree with you, but I feel like this is almost a nemesis of theirs.
Anything but Magnus.
Oh yeah.
I think they still, somebody needs to sit down and have a conversation about Magnus at LGD's bootcamp. Like, please figure it out. You know.
You're sure you don't want to ban it?
No, I don't think it's honestly.
Figuring it out, I feel like they had like a couple of years to do that. Like,
yeah, but
can you chill out? Just
so you know, that's like a big thing also with like I want to say like big captains or like big Dota minds. It's like in order you need to be confident, right?
Yeah.
I think stubborn is like step 2, but like step 1 is confidence, because you need that. You need to be confident in your ideas. That's how you stick through them. That's how you work through them. You make them even better when somebody counters them, you round them up, whatever.
And if you change them all the time.
Yeah, because if like as soon as you lose or I lose as somebody challenges these ideas, you just like flip. Then you're never really building. So and then of course the downside of the other side of the coin is that it can turn into stubbornness. It's like, well, I know how to beat this Magnus. We're gonna beat this Magnus, and then 10 games later, it's like we're gonna beat it. It's like, bro, we're eliminated now. Yeah, next year we'll beat this Magnus. and it's happening again.
They're still next to you.
And 2 years after, it's like I'll beat this Magnus, but I think he will beat this Magnus eventually. He will eventually. It might be too late, and he might be 40 or 50 years old, but. He'll figure it out. But I think, anyways, like long way to say that, I think they have LGD, they have really good ideas, like macro ideas, and I'm sure they could just leave the Chen. I wouldn't be surprised if they leave it and they beat it.
Yeah, I don't even think it will be necessarily first pick. Like I've been really, I don't know if impressed is the right word, but I was kind of surprised that people were not taking these obvious first picks. Again, I'm not in the teams, I'm not understanding the meta, but my read from the outside, like the CK didn't get first pick right into the Brewmaster, even though they would second phase it and other teams still ban it and stuff, but they're like, I don't want to, fall into this trap you're probably trying to make for me, I want to surprise you. Like they're really trying to catch each other off guard and not go for super obvious. Is how I felt a lot of these drafts go down. So I don't think this Chen might not get first picked, but I also wouldn't be too surprised. And if it gets first picked and they win, I think it's not going to be easy for LGD to figure this out for them.
Do you think that all 3 teams have their own grasp of the meta right now and their own strategy, or is it just gaming leading the pack?
I think they have some agreements, quite a few agreements, but there are, I think Spirit are leading their own path, they're carving their own way, and Gaming are definitely carving a different way that I think is much more evidently different than most of the other teams here, because they are
winning games in 20 minutes.
Yes, and also managing these tier 3 towers and Raxus much earlier in the game. And consistently.
When I look at Spirit, there's one thing that's really triggering me is Larl is getting away with playing 3 heroes this tournament.
And Kunkka has been like non-stop.
2 of which are, I think, absolutely busted, which is Kunkka and Earthspirit, and then Invoker is like up there. You know, it's maybe not as broken, but it's up there. And he's playing Kunkka, Invoker, Earthspirit since the group stage. And he's getting away with it. And everybody's like, oh, Collapse Magnus. Bro, there's like a big elephant in the room. Is this stupid Kunkka? Just ban it. Get rid of it. Because like this hero, like we've all seen it, it's like, oh, I'm in trouble, Mr. Kunkka, help. Kunkka goes like, water park. Everything is fixed. You know, everybody's dead. Everybody has to click BKB, run away. It's like, oh, Kunkka, can you kill this guy? Yes, I can.
X marks the spot.
Water park. Or like, oh, this guy's BKB. Like, this hero is
the X mark on the BKB is so crazy.
He's Xing the Pango roll. And everybody is fine with that, you know. And I'm here like losing my mind to how stupid this hero is. So I think like, I think this is really, I'm not saying that he's a weak player and he has no other heroes. He does. But these are like some of the strongest heroes of the pool. They're building lineups around him. I think what people don't, Lard is like Yatoro and Collapse, they're in the distraction. Everybody talks about them, and I'm the first to talk about how good they are. But I think Spirit, if you look at the arc of that team, they kicked Toronto Tokyo. They started off with Lard, and it didn't work at all at the beginning, so they were struggling to make him work. So they must have built around him. So I'm sure that a lot of what they talk about is him and his heroes and what he wants to play and how they can complement it. And that's when it probably started clicking, right? And they got like a stable system where now, of course, Yatoro and Collapse can shine, and the support players, every player on that team is amazing. But I would really want for team to start targeting Lard and cripple him, force him out of his comfort zone. Because how Dota is played also now is like the mid laner and the supports, it's really important, like how these heroes function together, because the side laners are just rising, you know, and then the mid laners and the supports, they have to fight for the runes, get the wisdom runes, get the bounty runes, invade areas, take the jungle, attack the carry, protect, whatever, you know.
But if you ban out Larl, and you let...
It's going to impact support pool is what I'm trying to say, you know? Like if you cripple his heroes, like you cannot play... Like there are some combos that just don't work. Like let's say you play Kunkka plus Willow.
Invoker Willow is a classic example. I think it's way worse than the other two. Like Earthspirit Kunkka with a Willow is like different world.
They run together, it's super scary. But if you run into like a...
Willow Invoker is not the same.
A co-op AA, it's very sketchy. It's like, what are they going to do to you?
I'm completely fine with that, but you leave the Magnus in the pool, and then you get memed on Twitter afterwards. You know?
I mean, the meme on Twitter is unavoidable, but I don't think you have to worry about the meme on Twitter so much. Like, but it's unavoidable. So I think like the approach to Spirit, but that's like for the grand finals, is going to be to stop getting baited by Yatoro and Collapse and actually look at that team for what it is.
After all, you can't even ban out Yatoro, right? Like if you, how do you ban?
He plays every single hero.
He plays every single carry, and he is apparently winning with it.
Yeah, I don't think you're banning out Yatoro. I think that doesn't make sense. Like even in the last series they had yesterday, or like the last game of the series when they first picked the CK, and most likely it's Yatoro hero, but then until the end you're like, they spent so many bans on Collapse.
Be offlane,
And then Collapse is obviously playing the CK into a Witch Doctor Spectre lane, which is like CK's dream.
Okay, I have one question about that lane. Like usually I expect maybe a Maledict from a Witch Doctor when he's playing into Strength cores.
But not one with lifesteal, it doesn't make sense.
That's true. Then again, I don't expect no boots vessel rush from a Spectre.
Oh, we were, everybody was...
what's up?
It's the second time, so it's the second time for LGD, like Seb's saying.
I have a theory. You guys, I don't know if you guys remember, but Ame did this in one game, and I think it was a TI game. I have to look it up, but it was a TI game where he had a really good game on Spectre, and then he got super excited, and then he bought Vessel, and then you saw on his teammate's face like, what is going on? Like, is he buying Glimmer next or what? And then
is this envy?
Oh my god! And then it's like the Spectre could have like Radiance, like Rising, farming every camp, and he's like Vessel, like guys, please go fight. I have like a item build problem, and then they lost that game, and he got a lot of flack for it. So my theory is that in that team they talk a lot about Ame, and the Shiro guy, he's a young guy, and they're, oh, Ame one day bought Vessel, and then he's like, oh okay, and then he's like, oh, it's my time to be Ame, you know. And then they went back to it. I mean, it was a gamble. Honestly, you look at CK, you look at Morph, and I think it was Kunkka, which, you know, both, buff, heart, whatever. It's tempting. But oh my god, when I was looking at this Morph, Manta, Linken's, whatever, Silver Edge, and the Spectre is like Vessel on his way to Blade Blade, like, oh, okay, guys, like, it's just
like he could, at some point, he couldn't even run to the camps, right? Like, he's way too slow.
Really rough to watch. Like,
and that's why the Grimstroke went Axe. He's like, I'm gonna copy Yatoro, you know? Like, I want the new carry for this. I want more fling on my side.
I think back in the day, this used to work, right? When heroes were simpler and stuff. But now, if you were in a situation where your carry cannot farm and their carry is farming, every minute is like everybody's sweating so much because you have to stop their guy from getting to these creeps, and you have to worry about your guy like figuring it out. You know, like he has to somehow get his farm speed going because this is not gonna work out, man.
Yeah, and the map is so huge. Like
and it's so big. Yeah. So this game felt really bad after he bought this vessel.
There was a moment where he was farming a camp and he had to vessel himself to tank against the camp, and I was like, oh my god, this is bad. You know, when you respect your vessels himself defensively.
But I think there was over on draft, like they got trapped as well.
Yeah.
It's just you have these lanes and
that CK offlane or
CK offlane into the Spectre. It's a perfect morph game, more or less, right? Like you have a Spectre buying vessel. That's the only counter.
But overall, when I look at morph, I don't mind having Spectre on my team, right? Like.
No, it's not a bad matchup.
Yeah. I don't think it's like that super losable, but you're creating these scenarios. Even I think if you would have gone Radiance, there's these moments, 5-6 minutes, where he doesn't have the Radiance and Morph is like, farming and a higher level than you. This is where I think Morph also has on the Spectre, reliably. I think they picked it partly because of this matchup, but also just the overall lanes and stuff, right? And Collapse fixing his... Because what would he have picked in this scenario? What could have been better? I don't think anything could have been better.
Yeah, we were actually thinking about offlaners, right? And then they banned Tide, they banned Nutstalker, and we felt like, okay, they're actually cornering Collapse. And
even the Nutstalker, I think it was a wasted ban, but we're trapped.
You two were at the arena, right?
Yeah.
I was sitting outside on a bench giving some interview, and I see some dude with a cap, no glasses, but the mask passing by, and I noticed it's you.
It's not me.
No. Definitely not you. You weren't at the arena at all, right?
No, it was not him.
Yeah. No. I noticed someone. Someone was just passing by. But did you see like all the Chinese support and all the energy that they're giving for their teams? Like it's insane.
The energy is really good in the arena. Honestly, like this is full TI vibes. I'm super happy about it because I think a lot of people maybe share that worry that the prize pool is like much lower this year, so is TI gonna be as like hype and prestigious and whatnot? And honestly, it is. It is. I think all the teams are playing their hearts out. The game seemed like really high-stakes games. Like you feel the heat. The atmosphere is great. Everything. It's TI. Honestly, I think it's fair to say that, at least like as far as I'm concerned, I feel the TI vibe.
Yeah. You're happy that you won it when you won it, but.
For sure. But no, but I think like I would be as happy winning TI here, honestly, because like I don't know. Like you feel like the best is competing, and they're like trying as hard as they can. And I think that's what TI is about. I'm
pretty sure players would also not mind if everything was always smooth and run really nice and prize pool was reduced. Of course, it's a big jump if you're talking about previous TIs and this TI, but still the prestige, I think, is very much here, at least right now in the tournament. I mean, I wasn't here for every phase of the tournament, but I can tell you that, the other TIs felt super prestigious, and this one does too. Now that I'm here, I love what they did to the arena as well.
Like even before the arena, I feel like the other two parts of the TI, the road to TI, they felt good.
We only saw it online, but it looked really good.
I worked a little bit like the group stage, and one thing that you said, there were no problems. That's
everything was on time. Everything was running super smooth, and it felt...
Honestly, they're doing a great job. Valve is doing a great job this year. Honestly, props to them. I think the fact that it's back in Seattle probably must help also.
Yeah, like so close to them, and they probably want to show off as well a little bit.
They have more people on the ground, I would assume, and if they have a problem, they probably have the contacts, and they don't have to go through third parties or whatever. I mean, obviously, it must be easier to organize something closer to you, but they're doing an amazing job. So props to them. Like TI is TI.
And the community is rewarding them at least. Like the stadium is, the arena is almost full.
Super full. Yeah. And the atmosphere is crazy. Yeah. So I feel like overall everybody's happy with this year. That's what it feels like. No complaints from teams. You're never gonna get like tweets of like praise. I think that's like the ungrateful part about being Valve, which sucks, is like people are gonna complain a lot, but they're not gonna, or maybe they will, but
there's a lot of server complaints before TI. During the bootcamp, I get like the.
Oh but the servers were so bad. Like,
which is really annoying if you're practicing and scrimming, right? Like I get it. I'll be stressing out too. I'm hoping everybody has the same issues as I do.
But overall, it's been great, and I was worried that also TI would not be. I don't know. Like for some reason, I was like, are we really gonna get like strong enough teams to like challenge the top? Because the year has been kind of. I don't want to say boring, but it was like kind of always the same teams that were
always gaming pretty much on Spirit,
Liquid, and then Spirit won one tournament. You're like, wow, nice, we got 3. But like now it feels like, I mean, now there's only down to 3, but I think like the top 5 or top 6 was like super close and super exciting.
What's also really good, for me and my perspective at least, is that it's from different regions.
Yeah.
Like you had Eastern European representation, not only Spirit, then you have Azure and LGD. It's good for the scene, right?
I love seeing China kind of have presence and force, you know, and strategies of their own. And yeah, like you're saying, top 6 being closely contested, but also being individual teams was really nice to see, you know. Dota wasn't like, I think, as stale as other tournaments as well. People are playing different stuff more, so I feel like, even though of course there's some things that you see over and over, like the Spirit Breaker and Primal Beast and Earth Spirit, it's like, okay, but you always have that, and yet I think I see a lot of diversity in how people play and pick, which is nice.
It's nice because the coaches have different approaches, right? Like to the game at the moment.
Coaches,
more
I
or
guess.
less.
It's all about this player stuff too, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think Miposhka is playing Chen and Ench from past experience also. This is like invaluable experience. You're not gonna find new position 5 players who jumped into the game a couple years ago, have this concept or have grasp of this hero and what it can do and stuff, and like how
you can have the micro, but maybe not the strategy, right?
And same thing with so many other heroes and things, right? Past experience and probably from losing to some other guys. Most of the time it's like this. And yeah.
So the first series today, like, how do you feel about it?
I mean, it depends really on if gaming get, I think, this upper hand draft. I would say like Ace seems to be one of the like also top players of this tournament. He crushes his lane, plays unorthodox heroes. I think he is part of the reason why it's so hard to draft against him as well, because you don't want to draft into like some losing lane, like whatever. But I think he is challenging carries and challenging players and supports also on this lane because of the way that they play together, Tofu and Ace, and the heroes that they play is not the normal shit. You know, the +4 Invoker, the Lone Druid, sometimes there's some Darkseer lane and they end up crushing it somehow.
And like, you mentioned Ace, like on his offlane, right? Like he's playing insanely right now, but what about Tofu? Like you just mentioned him as well. Do you think that he's...
Very strong player, very solid, very stable, in my opinion. Like it's all the little things, right? Like his laning is very strong. His rotations are like always at the right time, like he farms when he needs to, he's at the right place, right time, the warding, like it's all the little things. Like when I switched to 4, he's a player I watched a lot, and it's hard to pinpoint. Obviously, you watch a Dota game, it's not as flashy as the Yotoro morph going into 3 heroes and stuff, but or the collapse, like Magnus pressing his spells, but like everything Tofu does is almost perfect, like if not perfect.
I feel like what's also insane about him is it's not only the spell casting, it's the way he moves on the map.
Yeah,
right? Like
it's so good. So he's a big part. Like it's not normal to have their lane either crush or do really fine every game. It's not normal, you know. Like sometimes lanes are supposed to be wrong, like to go to shit when you get counterpicked or when people start. It never happens with them. And I think like the thing about gaming that teams like that haven't played against them like feel, but obviously now I think these teams know each other really well. But like against gaming, you do have to take something into account is how they play. It's very scripted, but it's almost impossible to beat because like it's the best way to play the patch. It's like they have this 3-hero system that they do. So they heavily focus on lanes. That side lane is going well, and Quinn, his lane only starts when the supports start rotating. That's why they don't mind picking his hero early. Like they can pick Pango. Like they need a hero obviously that's strong, and they put a lot of value in having a hero. They think a lot about the 3v3. What I mean by the 3v3 is the mid player plus the 2 supports, and that starts usually at minute 6 when the side lanes are the side lanes are like secured. And the thing is, like when Tofu and SteelSeries are gonna rotate to Quinn, they bring so much pressure around the mid lane, and if they win the mid lane fight and they get the rune and they deward, then they can start going, 2 sides. Either they go to Duracho or they go to Ace. So now they start like, so what I mean is like you play versus them and you play support versus them. It's like if you don't also address what's happening mid,
you're getting crushed.
Your mid is starving. He's either dying or he has no mana, no HP, and then they start invading your areas. They start killing your carry. And you're like, you're asking your mid player, bro, can you help? And he's like, bro, like I'm still level 5. He got the rune. I cannot help you. So and then they have these side laners, that benefit from the fact that enemy supports have to rotate. They have this Lone Druid that's looking at a carry and bullying him 1v1. Or they have this Wraith King that is just clicking skeletons and now he's farming everything. And and the carry is like, guys, can we stop this Wraith King? He's gonna have Radiance minute 12. And we're like, no, we can't, because they're bringing so much pressure around Quinn and around mid. and it's like a pango, like and like so they have this system where you really need to think really hard about how do we deal with this.
Yeah.
It's a lot about the support matchups. It's why they prioritize the Muerta so much, because it's a hero that nothing beats Muerta, dude. Like early game, she clicks W, you're slowed, you're silenced. You have
There's
no
so many
speed.
things, right? Like, and they play it on force so well. Like Tofu owns with it. But what changed from group stages to right now? Because in the group stages they weren't looking so hot. Did they just figure out the game, or?
Hard to say.
I think people stepped up a lot. Like I think Ace also stepped up even more, even though I don't think he had a shaky group stage performance. I think maybe Duracho and I don't want to say Celery, but like when one thing goes wrong, it reflects bad on each other, you know. I think their safe lane wasn't clicking as hard as they made it click now, because now they're owning. Like Duracho, Celery, they're crushing their lanes. They're getting this Weaver off to a hot start. I think a lot of what Seb talks about is like the very typical happens every time when you have two really good teams. Like the early game starts deciding more and more, because as soon as one team falls behind and you're both really freaking good, what they do with the space that they've been given just keeps their league going, unless you somehow manage to break that, but sometimes it can be really hard. Like early game, you get the first level 6 on support, or you win the first engagement around mid, you get the wards out first, you're going to deward them, then you're going to fall for something, and so on and so on. You can be the first one to collapse like a minute before they can, which screws up everything, right? So I think they're the masters, the way I see it. Like they have perfected these first 5 minutes the most in Europe. I think the CIS teams are the ones that can contest them the most. You know, I think Liquid, only on a good day, they'll, for example, do it, right? But these other guys, they're like so freaking good at the first 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. And you see these ripple effects, these snowball effects that happen from very small things. And leads into more.
Speaking of Duracho and his others, like Eastern European friends, have you guys seen any of the drama, any of the old chatting?
No. Between who and who?
I saw all this old chatting between, like, so one thing was the high fives and then the question mark came.
Yeah, there was a question mark as well.
That was
right there.
Azure, no? No, was it? It was Azure.
I think it's Azure Batboom,
Yes, but then the question mark continued in the Spirit series, right?
No, it's because Azure in the LAN, whichever LAN, they forced Batboom to play without
Bali.
Pure.
It was Bali, yeah.
And then Toronto tweeted something like, oh, I used to respect you or something before you did that.
Yeah.
And then they played a game, and Batboom still won. And Azure wrote GG in all chat, and Pure, no, I think they must have played, they played after, and when Pure stood in, like came back in, I mean, and Batboom won, and Azure called GG, classic GG at the end of the game, and Pure question marked them. Like, and this is why it all started. So that was like an answer to Batboom.
How long ago was this?
I don't know. Was it Bali, you said?
Yeah, it was Bali.
So,
Major.
like, I don't know, maybe
2 months, 3 months ago. Yeah.
2 months they've been sitting there waiting, and then
yesterday
they were like,
question mark.
It was a really big thing though, because I believe one of the teams had to go through open qualifiers, or they almost lost the points for TI. So removing him from it was a pretty big deal.
I remember it.
Yeah. And there was also, I think, Tianmin or someone from the Chinese region. He wrote like after they won, he wrote in old chat like "good game, young one" or "good game, little one." You know,
which is said like you're not so good, young brother.
It meant it's not
not so good.
Little bro. Yeah. Oh, that would piss me off so bad if somebody called me little bro. That's way worse than like a question mark or something. Little bro.
A little bit of disrespect there, right?
Yeah, a lot.
I'm big bro. No, man.
A lot of disrespect.
This was the most stumpy game perhaps of all TI history except MTW when Seb was playing.
Very funny. I'm gonna laugh a bit. You raise on man?
But yeah, the last series. I don't know if you guys were awake for that. I was falling in and out of sleep, but it was. Pull that up again. What happened? Bring it back. Nice. Because we had the lone druid picked again for Ace. All the lanes got crushed, right? And I think these are like now their signatures. It's like the way I see it is Duracho been playing more and more Weaver. Now I think it's the hero that they will first phase and they'll pick for him. They really want on him. Ace has played a lot of lone druid also in the playoffs, and I think this was one of the only games where Quinn got his hero this late, and it was super valuable. Like there's nothing they can do to fix the mid situation except put the TA there so she can jungle. But then you're putting a Kunkka Brewmaster side lane against a Weaver and a lone druid. It doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
I feel like this Weaver got discovered, right? Like a bit later in the patch, but feels like one of the stronger carries, right?
Those 4 days between
those 4 days, exactly.
From pubs and scrims, like this Weaver jumped up in value.
But honestly, like you know what I was saying about? So it's like it's this concept of pressure. It's like like this is how lane goes in Dota. Because like how does Dota work? Is like you have laning phase, and then you have rotations from supports, and rotations are gonna leave. Like, so you outnumber on a lane, and then you're outnumbered on another lane, or you're gonna leave your cores by themselves in 1v1 situations after you give them like a head start. And this is what I mean about pressure. Is like, you know, what happens when this Weaver stays alone versus the Brewmaster? Who's getting the farm? Who's getting the denies? Who's getting the camps? And in that case, it's Weaver. It's not Brewmaster. Same with the Lone Druid versus a TA. You know, who's bullying who? The Lone Druid bullies the TA. So, and it's the same in the other game. Who's bullying who? Is it Underlord bullying Naga or the other way around? Obviously, it's Underlord bullying Naga.
So are they focusing more on just securing lanes really well? Is that what the heroes are doing? Or
like gaming, to me, like what they play for is from minute 6 to minute, I don't know. It depends of the game, but it starts at minute 6 and maybe it ends at minute 15 or 16.
Or even 20, depending. I mean, now I think this is like, so they discover themselves more and more too, where they're like, okay, so we have a Lone Druid. What happens when when Ace is playing Lone Druid for Celery? When he plays Enter Chen, like this shit starts coming together real big, you know? Like one is they're owning the 6 to 12 minutes or like 6 to 10 minutes, which secures the next, makes it a lot easier. And then it gives these timings where you actually are able to take tier 2s and tier 3s before minute 20.
Yeah, and it's like
reliable.
It's matchups and it's items that they buy, you know? Like, so for instance, just think about you're playing support and there's this Weaver staying versus Brew. Weaver has ulti, Brew cannot kill Weaver, Weaver can kill Brew. So this is a lane you're gonna feel like gaming, they have plays if they want to, and the other team has nothing to do on that lane. It's the same, you have a diffused 100 because that's the build now, versus like some poor TA that what is she gonna buy with the gold? She's gonna be on her way to Dragonlance, but she doesn't want to stay versus the diffusal.
So if you're Xiao Bao or Zhao 8, what do you do right now? Do you focus on the early game? Do you focus on getting past that and
you have to,
maybe going late?
You don't have to like play their game entirely, but you have to respect it and you have to address it. You can't just be like, oh, we're playing like a game versus whoever, like we're just gonna do this and that. You have to understand what's coming. Like at minute 6, both supports are gonna be mid and they're gonna stay there until minute 14. Like they're gonna go for every rune, they're gonna bully your mid laner, they're gonna invade your space. You know, you have to, and I'm not saying you have to fight it. Maybe you need to have
but you need to find the
killing potential on side lanes, and as soon as they go mid, Ace dies, the rest dies every time on cooldown, stuff like that. You know, whatever.
I think they have to. I mean, one thing is that they have 3 new players this TI, like 3 first-time TI.
Yeah, it's 3.
Shiro, New, and Planet.
Yes, and
which is crazy.
After seeing their rough loss yesterday, my approach, if I was the coach for that team, or like if I was in that position, I would first try to. I mean, one thing I think you have to address is their early game. You probably want to look at that together as a team so you can get some ideas perhaps. But 2 is, I think it's really important for them to look at what type of strats and what type of things are working out for them, and then trying to find that balance, or like that match between what you're playing, what you know, what's really good, against what they are about, you know, and their timings. Because if you start thinking about, you know, this Exodus and 50-minute timings, I don't know, you're wasting your time. This is not what we can be talking about right now. They have to really address this early game because they're winning every game on it. I think, we can maybe see Enchen Chen in the later stages of the game and how this shit's going to fall off versus a lot of different types of heroes. But we're not getting there if we don't deal with this minute 6 to 10 and so on. So I think I don't think it's a good matchup for LGD. Like the way I look at it and the way I feel, because they don't have the experience, I don't think they can just sit down and come up with something new together. I don't think that's going to work out. Like, because a lot of the time they need some experience and they need some rhythm, habit, and discipline built to execute a lot of strategies and even just simple heroes or simple concepts on lanes. If Seb goes to him and be like, yo, you play LC4 because that shit's gonna rock the Ench's world. This guy's like, yeah, okay, but he never played it before.
He's not gonna feel comfortable, right?
It's not gonna work. But they need to find out what actually they play and what works for them.
Yeah, they did play together a bit. Like I think that Shiro and Planet, they played together before as well. New is the only one like that just came into the team without having played with any of them before.
But still, I think even for the best teams, I think this is a really challenging thing. Like very few players in the world, I think, can do it. Like Seb or people from TI winners or top TIs, there are few teams who are able to look at a team, look at their strategy, and even come up with something new on the spot and execute it.
Yeah.
Very few can do that. Even myself with some heroes, like I would need some practice, right? Like, and most players would say that they would need some time or some practice. It would make it a lot better. But I don't think LGD have it in them to be like, yo, this Chen, I understand it. I'm gonna rock it with some bounty hunter.
I
don't think so.
That's what it's gonna take, though.
Yeah, well, Bandit Chen, like this is like
Yeah,
I think
you
you have your work cut out for you because there's a different way to maybe win this series if you somehow figure out how to trap them in the draft or like push them into something that puts you in a great position, you know?
Yeah. And if you waste all your bans on just banning
every
out
ban is so fucking
it's
important for them. Super fucking important.
There's a lot of things you can do, honestly. Like that's the thing. Like that's what's cool about Dota and how creative you can get. Because I don't know, you can goddamn trial in them. You can like there's like a lot of things you can like open in your mind and be like, okay, this Chan, you know, we're trying to do this and that, but for instance, Chan level 1 is like it's harmless. It doesn't do much. You know, like you could like just decide to throw your offlaner there, for instance, and just try lane the ace. Keep him level 1, like bully the shit out of him, and then their whole system might just crumble.
You guys have been in the finals like many times in many different tournaments, especially in TI, right? I wonder now, how easy is it to go and be creative in the finals, right? Or lower bracket finals? It's not,
where
right?
You're coming from.
Innovating.
If you're coming from lower bracket as Liquid TI9, it's really hard to snap out of it because everything you did worked for you all the way.
Yeah.
But if you've been winning with different shit from the upper bracket and you don't feel any pressure and you feel like whatever you do works,
you feel a bit untouchable. You know,
then
you feel
you're,
like whatever
then
you do is gonna work.
Yeah.
So you're just excited about you're like, oh, this is a great idea. Let's do it. You know.
Yeah.
You don't even
carry,
think
whatever.
about that it might not work. Yeah. You know, because like you cannot be thinking. It depends, like Johan said, like where you are mentally, but most of the time you're feeling really good, you're feeling really confident, so you're not thinking, oh, if we do that, we're just gonna miserably fail. You're just like, oh, we're gonna own them so hard. They're not gonna see it coming, it's gonna click, it's gonna come. You visualize it, and that's it. That's all you need, really.
So if we circle back to how we started this conversation, like LGD, they didn't look very happy when they exited their booth yesterday, right? So are they in a place which allows them to innovate?
It could be both, because sometimes, like, you know, like unhappiness can come from falling from a high point. So maybe they are actually really confident and they thought they should stomp them.
Maybe they're like, we're not going to buy Vessel anymore on our carry. And
like maybe they're just disappointed. Maybe that's the conclusion. You know, they're going to have a paper tomorrow with like a Vessel with like a big sign of like...
just ban the item, ban.
But
I think we have an example with Anna buying Radiance on Bloodseeker when we have a Magnus and it's winner bracket against LGD.
Yeah, game 2.
We have the living shit out of this game. Like, we've said this before, like, bro, this was a bootcamp thing, right? If you're in doubt and you're playing with Magnus, if you don't know what to buy, just buy drums, SNY, BKB. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter what hero you're doing. And you go to TI, he's like, oh, 4,000 gold, Bloodseeker. I'm like, oh, you know, he couldn't stop himself. But we
switching, you look at his quick buy, he's switching through items,
We lost, everybody knew. Like, Bloodseeker, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, what are you doing? And
that's like Magnus' nightmare, you know, because like back then the Magnus is like what you give to your carry is like you give him damage.
Yeah, just empower him.
So you're like, bro, you just need to be able to go in the fight, okay? Because like you have so much damage, and then the carry is like, I have even more damage. Like I have rage. And then he just goes in and gets one shot by the storm. Dude, the storm just comes and kills him, solo kills him. I'm like, where's the fuck is my Bloodseeker? Who do I empower now? You know, I'm like, just buy SNY by heart. I don't know, whatever you want. Just like enter the fight. So
we didn't break mentally after this game. Like quite on the contrary, I think we felt nice and confident in the sense that if we play this game again, we'll win. Yeah. We had just this one error that we had to do again for whatever reason, but
you can even laugh it away, honestly. You can just be miming. Like if you're feeling really good, you might even laugh. Like you're like, oh, you're like, what an idiot, dude. Like, oh my god, are you gonna give next game or can we just get serious about it now? You know, something like that. And everybody laughs and whatever. You move on with your.
It's next level. You bait them into thinking that Bloodseeker is a bad pick.
Yeah, and then you pull it off again.
But it could turn out this way,
It's hard to know what happens behind closed doors, but I'm sure that all these teams, like, of course now they're facing hardship, but in order to get that far in the tournament, they've faced it many times already. Yep. In group stage, in series, in games that they won, you know, because obviously we look at the results, like, oh, they won, everything must have been perfect. Of course not. Like, they might have won 15 games, and in 10 out of these games, they had really serious conversations about, guys, this is not how we should be playing the lanes, or we don't want to contest Roche this way, or there must have been a lot of things that went wrong in these games, and that they have talked, and that they have. So what I mean is, like, these are the teams that are the strongest mentally, that have the best systems in how to help each other, how to improve as a team, and whatnot. So I would say that it's gonna take a lot to break any of these remaining teams. Is what I'm trying to say. And I would like to think that these teams are gonna give everybody like a really good show and a really good fight. Do they have the resources? Is it enough? That's another question. But
I'm wondering which one of these players is gonna do that for LGD. Is it gonna be on the coach alone? Maybe Y and Nothing to Say can help out a bit.
For me, the way I'm seeing it is LGD is on this rope and it's very windy, and it's very easy to push them off. Like I think they lose game one the wrong way, the series is over. The way I see it, like I think Gaming Gladiators comes from a lot more headspace. I think they have a lot more understanding of the timings that they can reach, and their timings are earlier. And it starts already. It's also the laning phase,
which can put LG on pressure also. Like
right away, I think they're full pressure already. Like the game hasn't even started; it's starting soon. But I think already the pressure is on LGD. I think everybody's aware. I think gaming is aware. I think LGD is aware. I think it's to do, with the early timings and the laning phase. Still, that has won gaming so many tournaments this year.
I feel like from the start of the show, we've been the atmosphere has been like LGD. It's gonna be rough.
I want to see China in the finals. Like,
yeah, me too.
I do. Also, part of me also want to see gaming win again because they won so much this year. But at the same time, I also think they deserve it in the sense that you do so well throughout the year. Like you can peak again, or like you work so hard for TI. I can see all these three teams deserving in their own regard. So for me, it's a little bit hard to cheer. I would like to see China, like East versus West again in the finals. But yeah, with that said, I think gaming are the favorites, the way I see it.
There's a lot of good storylines, right? Like gaming winning all the majors, can they break the curse of winning the full year and then...
And also Spirit, like versus gaming, I just think would be an epic.
Or Spirit LGD game as well, like a rematch from 2 years ago.
All the games would be epic. It's going to be very nice. Is there anything else to talk about when we I mean, Liquid got knocked out. I don't really think we
there's maybe one thing that's not related that much to games. Like usually at TI, some things are revealed, right, by Valve.
Yeah, we haven't got anything.
We haven't gotten anything yet. Well, like, what's happening?
Probably in between. If I had to guess, it would probably be in between the...
Guys, where's TrueSight? Nobody cares. I'm the only one. I'm just walking around asking people, do you know anything about TrueSight? Like, and everybody's
I've seen him. He's walking. He's like pulling people. Like,
it's a documentary about the grand finals. Remember? Hello, it's really nice. Where is it? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Not a single Reddit thread. Nothing.
They did record it though, right?
Yeah,
like
I'm
last
sure
year.
they did. Yeah, I'm sure they did. Like, I don't know. Nobody cares.
Maybe they lost the footage. No,
but
the hard drive got.
Finals too boring, too easy. Maybe not worth.
I don't know. Where is TrueSight? I mean, there's like a waiting room. It's only me right now, but feel free to join. Like, I'm in that room and I'm just waiting.
Where is TrueSight?
Yeah.
I think it's a subreddit by this point.
Maybe it's gonna come, but anyways. So I think that would be cool. What else do you want them to announce?
Maybe
have you have something in mind?
I wanted to mention Liquid losing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because it was a bit sad. I don't know. Did they make any announcement about players or anything?
I mean, Zai announced that he's taking a break. I mean, he didn't officially announce it.
I didn't see it.
I mean, it really sounded like it. I mean, I think he just said it, no, that he's taking a break.
I think it was kind of known before
I heard
TI
the rumor,
as well.
but
Yeah. And then during the post interview, he did say to Tsunami, I think he was interviewing him, and he said to Tsunami like, yeah, I'm gonna take it slow, take a little break.
Yeah.
He didn't say anything decisively, like, this is it. But it definitely feels like he's taking a break. Like, how long? Is it some high school break again for a year or two?
Yeah, he even hinted that he doesn't really know what it means for him. I think he's said that in the past, and then he came back. So, but you don't know. But I think he seemed really disappointed with himself because he mentioned several times how he had a really bad game, and I don't know if he was like. It was hard to tell if he was like kind of trolling or if he actually meant it. But he seemed a little bit sad. So maybe he actually just felt like
sad boys, LMAO, XD, who cares?
Great stuff, thank you.
Great stuff.
It's not the first time that he has like retired for a little bit, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Seeing that interview, I have a feeling like he might come back.
Yeah, probably.
Like,
as a comeback expert, he's coming back.
Yeah.
I recognize the body language. He's back soon, guys. Don't worry about it. Relax. He's just taking a 1 week holiday. All good.
Are we seeing you next season as well? By the way?
I don't know. Man. Can we talk about something else?
Yeah, no. I mean, sorry for them getting knocked out. Like I was kind of hoping. My heart was with them. Like they were the team I was cheering for after Topias got knocked out.
Yep.
But yeah, man, it's not easy, especially
gaming again.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The whole year. You're
gonna have nightmares about that gaming team. Like it's gonna be Ace in your dreams. Like we're looking at you. Like I have Radiance. It's minute 7. Wake up. You know. Oh my God, that must be so.
Is there some team that you really wish you would have beat back in the day that you'll probably never have the chance to beat because people no longer play and stuff?
Yeah, I would have wanted to get back at Spirit with Toronto Tokyo, of course.
Yeah.
This easy game is still there. I'm like, was it that easy? Now I'm looking at him getting knocked out of TI. I'm like, this TI is not so easy, is it?
Oh, bro, every time Seb is going to play against him, the finger's going to be hovering over the question mark. He's like, oh.
Yeah. I never got to get back at him. So,
GG's.
No, I would have wanted to get back at him with you guys, you know?
Yeah.
Because we had series with the young boys against Red Bull, and some series went well, some didn't, but I'm like, it's just like another time. It doesn't work.
Any team for you?
Any team for me, what?
Yeah.
That you would have wanted to beat, that you didn't get the chance to?
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to beat the old Navi with Papi and Kuro on it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, because I lost so much to them. When I came into Dota, I lost so much to them. Like
we all did, dude.
Bro,
we were all their punching balls.
It's this, like, when you're 5 years old and you're playing against your dad and some stuff.
Yes.
Like, I would meet Kuro, like, so they beat me with Ench or Chen a million times. Then I pick Ench and Chen. I meet them in the woods with some tree and Visage. They're dual smoking on me to block my camps and kill me. You know, it's like, it's always 1 step, 2 step, 3 step. They already know the whole book, you know? They're just toying with me.
Do you want to know something really shameful? Like, against us, like when I was like in French teams and we would play them, they had a strat specifically against us. They called it the rocket strat. Oh my god, that strat was, so they had
it's already funny.
They had Tinker, they had Clockwork, they had Gyro, homing missile, and then what was it? Like, then they had like Sniper, like, and then Bounty Hunter, and Puppy was playing Bounty. And then the concept was they would place wards behind our towers, they would just track us, and they would just kill us without us seeing them with rockets. That's how humiliating.
Wait, was that Denial?
Yeah, we were like going on lands, we were preparing for weeks and stuff, and back then we were young, you know, we were like borrowing money for tickets, to buy our plane tickets, let's go, we're gonna play Navi. Rocket strats, and they're just toying with us, like we can't even see them, we're just dying right, left, and center, and we're trying to play. It's like, okay guys, let's go. Yeah, there were no smokes back then, let's go, we're gonna fight, and it's like, oh, where is he?
Where is he? Oh, they're gonna rocket again.
We were getting so humiliated by these guys, it was really rough, man. But Navi back then was like,
do you think that game has changed a lot in that aspect? Like, there are no teams that are that much above you anymore, right?
No,
like, everyone at TI here
there
was
is, and back in the day, you could carry games 1v5. Like, literally, if you had a good Naga, that shit would get you
just wins alone.
The whole series.
Some good Meepo, good Naga,
No. That stopped like 2000, I think 19, it started getting really hard. And then it just kept getting even more intense after this.
It was right before COVID or during COVID that every single team got their coach, right? Like every single team felt like they had coaches and everyone was analyzing everyone.
And there was this whole online period where maybe that changed confidence and also like lost confidence. Like we lost confidence, other people gained confidence, and because the whole system and like this whole online thing was hard. But yeah, Dota got really hard in Europe at this point.
Speaking of close games today, like, are we expecting any stomps or are we getting good full
There might be
series?
stomps during gaming. Either Gaming Gladiator is going to be, like, versus LG is going to be big stomps, or it's going to be really close. Like, I mean, now I know I say that, I'm like, oh, it's either black or it's either white, like it sounds really stupid, but
I know, like
you know what I mean? Yeah, okay, now it sounds stupid, now that I say it, but you know what I mean? It's like either LGD comes ready and you're going to have an epic series, or they won't.
Or it's 20-minute games.
I don't think LGD is able to stomp gaming.
LGD is not going to stomp gaming, that's what we're trying to say. Yeah.
So it's either a long game or GG just stomping.
Potentially long game, or like, you know, the dragged out game where I think some of the gaming heroes might fall out. Like they have a good hero matchup versus Weaver and Chen and Ench. We might see the weaknesses of it, and Lone Druid too. But yeah, I think we're soon gonna have to wrap up because everybody wants to catch the game. But before we do, we have a special thing. Josh, is he in the room? Nice.
Josh is here.
Ready for the special thing, Sam?
No.
No?
Can I leave?
Josh is sitting next to you.
Come here.
You're sitting where?
Come in the middle.
Yeah.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
I'm here to bring the MMR average right down.
Oh yeah, it did.
Yeah.
I feel much worse at the game now.
We've gone from like 10K, and then now the average will be like 5.
Oh, that bad?
Damn.
It's been a rough couple of months.
Okay.
So I'm basically here to announce the winner of a giveaway we've been doing. As I'm sure everyone in the audience will have seen, and the hundreds of people who've been visiting our OG TI Hub, we've had a beautiful Secretlab Titan 2020 edition upstairs, an OG branded one, and we've decided we're gonna basically give it away to one of the like hundreds of fans who've been attending across this weekend.
Contest?
Yeah,
Okay,
maybe.
You Seb's chair at home?
Did I win? No.
Yeah. So basically what we're going to do after we're done here, you guys are going to come upstairs and sign it, and we're going to be giving it away to one lucky winner. So while the show's been going on, we've drawn the name, and I'm going to announce him in a minute. I figure he can come on the show, say a couple words, and then we'll go upstairs and we'll sign it for him.
Thank you.
Ship it to him, or does he have to carry it home with him?
Strip it down, take it in the luggage.
Just go to the airport with your Secretlab chairs. Like, is this oversized or how?
No. Can it fit in this box?
I'm trying to put it in the compartment.
I mean, the first time we did this in Stockholm, we gave away a few chairs, if you guys remember. And one of the guys who collected it was like from Stockholm. He genuinely took it
rolled
on the
it
subway.
home.
Yeah, he rolled it through the Stockholm subway system all
good.
the way home. That's good. It was amazing.
That's good.
No.
Okay.
I would do that.
So it's my pleasure to announce that Prince Angelo is the winner. Prince, I believe you're over there. Do you want to come on down? The real Prince.
Yes.
Hi, Prince.
Hi, big fan.
Wait, there's some difference to the Prince.
Hi, Prince. Congrats.
I got your email.
Yeah.
I'm giving you the chair now.
Got a Prince on the
By
couch.
the way, what the hell? Did I not get the memo? Are you all guys wearing the new era merch? Yeah.
We
Hey,
coordinated.
I
you live in
see.
the
I
past, dude. You live in the
See, I like this one,
Oh,
but
this one's good. I like it.
the new era is already available,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like you
yeah,
can
yeah.
buy it online.
This one's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got mine upstairs. I was like, they let me know, so I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I gotta change into it.
It's a nice one. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
it.
it is nice. I saw it. I was like, oh yeah, it's got the phrase, the lose, win, slay together.
Yeah, who else said that? That's such a cringe quote, man.
Yeah, it
Because he
sounds
said
super
slay like
cringe.
3 times or something, right?
That's such a cringe quote,
yeah,
actually.
I don't know.
So how about your chair? Do you have anything at home that's worth looking at or sitting in?
What? What do
Like
you
the
mean?
one that you have
A bit closer
currently,
to the, yeah.
the chair that you have at home that you're gaming on.
How long have I had it?
Yeah, and what is it?
Like,
good?
is it a good chair or is it pretty bad?
It's
Low
it's a
level?
good chair. It's
Okay, nice.
well, it's not gonna be like the ones I think.
Great.
Yeah, it is.
Nice,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's like a typical office chair, sort of thing.
Okay, what's the pose you're playing in?
The post.
Like,
You're doing the Johan pose?
Yeah.
are you that?
No, I actually lean back.
Oh,
because it
okay.
actually leans really far back. So
Yeah.
I'm just like that the whole time. I lean further back than this couch.
Oh,
actually.
damn.
I'm just like
How
that.
long are your arms?
I mean,
now?
It's like, what role do you play?
yeah, definitely.
He's like, can you pull the cam? Yeah, I can
Yeah, I'm on it, bro.
I can try to.
Wait,
I missed it again.
Wait a minute.
Unfortunate.
Yeah,
What-
four.
what-
four.
you-
Yeah.
Can we check the room? Yeah, I'm on my way.
Yeah, that's.
I'm just
that's
gonna nap and then I'll be there.
Like I played every role.
Okay.
Since, but like the one I would play the most is four. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Do you look
so-
up to any players in this tournament? Like, has any 4 players like impressed you, or out of the 4s?
Out of the 4s, I mean,
Are you more of a Planet, Tofu, or Mira fan?
I was actually looking to get my tiny shirt signed by Jerax if he was here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good 4.
Yeah,
Not a
it's
bad
very
pick.
good. Now I wanted him to sign it, Tiny Airlines.
Okay,
That
yeah,
was-
that's
I
good.
wanted him to
Yeah.
sign it, but I don't believe he's here right now.
Oh, he's not here today. I think.
Probably at the venue if you're
He's
lucky.
at the venue now.
Yeah.
Mm,
If you manage to hunt him down over there, yeah.
I'll look for him.
Yeah, and how are you gonna bring the chair back home?
I'll have to.
You have a
figure
strong
something
shoulder?
out.
Yeah.
I'll have to figure something out. 'Cause
Okay.
I got a connecting flight,
Oh,
So I live in Los Angeles. So,
Okay, cool.
but I can figure it out. I'm sure.
nice.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. We'll toss it that way, Fine, yes.
Yeah.
But the good news is the chair also leans back.
Yeah, great.
You're
That's
not,
good to
you're not losing your quality.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I saw it upstairs, I think. I don't know if it's that one,
Yeah.
but I saw one that looks like presumably the one.
By the 2 of you,
But yeah,
or
we're going up after.
okay, yeah. I see. Have you been here during the whole show yesterday or just today?
Just today.
Just
I haven't
today?
been able to get the chance to show up, but I'm here today.
Yeah.
And then, so that's all I can really say about that.
How you been enjoying TI so far?
It's been great, actually.
Is it your first one?
It was my first time attending in person.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was here in Seattle. Well, last time it was here in Seattle, I wasn't really super into Dota then.
Okay.
But I've been following it, like.
You got into it, what, after
That was when, I
2017?
believe that was when Liquid
Yes.
won. Yeah.
2017, yeah.
That was when Liquid won, and I kind of ever since then I was kind of
Oh,
watching,
nice.
keeping up.
What got you into it? Like,
What got me? well, I had a lot of friends who played it, and so we would kind of like we would kind of mess around, you know, play our own heroes and our own builds, wacky builds. So we never really followed too much with like getting better and stuff. We just played the game to have some fun.
Exactly.
Like
everyone.
He messes around. He's a fan of Tiny Airlines. He's leaning back. I see exactly the gameplay, dude. I see the gameplay. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Stay away from me in the pub.
Yeah, I mean, but it was fun. I had a lot of fun with it, and so I was watching when you guys won the back-to-back. I obviously not there in person. I was watching at home, but just hope you see you guys back in it again. You know?
Thanks, man.
Maybe he can drag me in there. Yeah, but a big applause, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And I think the game's probably already started, so we want to get this chair figured out, and want to get some Dota in my system.
Yeah, it
sounds good.
Let's do that.
Dota in my veins. Yeah, thanks everybody again for today, for showing up and coming in. Enjoy the last day of TI.
Yeah. Good day.
Nice. So, Josh, Ivan, are we going up? How does this work?
They faced a team spirit yesterday. It was a tough loss for them, but they have a second life. They can go up against Team Spirit in the grand finals again if they do become victors in this lower bracket finals. But for the first time in TI12, they're on the edge of elimination. They're going to have to pull out everything in this best of three. And Gunnar, you talked about what changes are going to happen and the fact that they are one of the best coaches to make it happen for them.
Yeah, I really think the draft is going to play the biggest part. Both teams have already proved their players are good enough to just be here, and they don't need to do anything special, so it's going to break down to the draft mostly, and we'll see. I think Gaming Gladiators have a really good read on the meta of the tournament and kind of just breaking it compared to everyone else, playing really fast, and I really like the way they draft. It seems really hard to beat them in the draft, so I think if LGD can even get an even draft with a good tempo for the game, they'll be in a good position.
Mm-hmm. Look, we pulled all the extra stops for this lower bracket finals to help us with the draft as well. We got Sheepstick joining us, by the way. Can we get a round of applause for her, crowd? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Thanks, Nat. Hi, yeah, I just appeared out of nowhere.
You really did.
Yeah, Lacosta's gone now. Sorry.
You just ate him. You consumed him, and you're like, I'm taking his spot here. And you're going to help us talk about Gaming Gladiators LGD for the lower bracket grand finals. Do you agree with Gunnar that they're able to make this change in tempo for themselves despite the really rough loss, especially that 76-minute game yesterday?
Oh my God, watching that was heartbreaking for LGD. I believe that they are a super top team, obviously coming this far. I think when we saw them play against Azure Ray, it was kind of like there that they exampled how they lost the early game, but they really understood their timings. They really understood where they wanted to go with their team, and the moves that they pulled off to kind of bring back and equalize the game and then take the advantage and win and just close it out very cleanly without throws. Like, that's the LGD I want to see coming here, smart, disciplined, and ready to own.
Yeah, but they're not facing Azure Ray. They're facing gaming gladiators who are rarely making any mistakes, right? They're just like very confident going objective after objective, and if they're not confident that they can break it, they're not going to go for it. They're not going to give the chances. So it's a very different game we're going to witness here.
It's tough to know what is going to be their win conditions before we see their drafts, but I want to talk about stable players for them, who has been the most consistent in showing up. And I feel for both these teams, it's the off-laners. It's Ace, it's Nu for both teams. Nu is also really new to this team. He only came in after 2 or 3. You're laughing because Nu is new?
Nu is new, yeah.
I thought so. I thought you'd have a little bit of giggle over that one. But yeah, he's quite new to this team, but he slotted in perfectly. And there are a lot of games that I saw him being the anchor, the one that's holding down the fort for them, holding those defenses to allow Shiro that time to be able to build what he needs on his carry.
I think the offlaners that are left in this tournament are very like stable, and all of their like initiation power, like they're doing it very well and very methodically. And for Nu, like even Centaur game yesterday, he was carrying the game so hard on the hero that you would not expect that to have that much of an impact. So that makes like him incredible, like skilled player that knows his timing very well, and also like, you know, he delivers. So this is the strength of their team, like for sure.
Also, during Last Chance qualifier last year, people were singing his praises, Nu, and they were saying, you know, he's going to be on the best Chinese team by the next TI. And here he is. He's proving himself at TI. He's already top 3. So I definitely think that the offlaners for both of these teams are kind of their like rocks, where no matter how the game is going, they're going to win their lanes. They're going to have a very stable game and always do their job, kind of no matter the draft, no matter the hero, no matter the situation.
Yeah, I really want to highlight as well, it's not just the offlaner, it's who you're laning with. The Pos 4s, I think Nu, prior to this team, he played on Vici Gaming, he played with FY. Now he's playing with Planet, who not as big of a name known, but I think Planet is easily one of the best Pos 4 players I've seen this year playing. This guy is phenomenal. I would hype him up any chance I got. Yesterday or 2 days ago, I was saying, I want to see Planet Rubik. We saw it. He owned with it. He's the only guy winning with it really in this tournament. I think Planet is amazing, and seeing him and Nu lane together have been, I mean, they've just been destroying.
Yeah, I want to ask you a question off the back of that then, because we talked about these stable off-laners. As a mid-player, Gunnar, how important is it to have a stable off-laner that allows your Pos 4 to do so much? Or is it not so much for you as it is important for your safe lane?
It matters, honestly, for all 3 lanes.
Okay.
If you win your offlane, it allows the 5 to rotate through the gate right now, gank the carry. It allows the 4s to check the water rooms, the power rooms at 6-8 minutes. And kind of everything, I think if you win your offlane, it almost wins your other 2 lanes just for you. And it's really hard these days to just stomp the mid in a pure 1v1. We've honestly seen it the last 2 days, which was very surprising that the mid lane matchups went really bad. We saw the Dragon Knight versus Puck, we saw the Void versus Puck, so maybe it's just Puck, not the mid lane. But they've kind of had rough times where the game snowballed out of control, but I wouldn't expect that today. I think it's more so going to be mid lane stable, and whether side lanes kind of snowball one way or the other.
Also considering how important the laning are right now, like if it's really important to have the synergy between position 3 and 4, like same as like a safe lane, and you almost like need to have like those 2 players to be like a friends, because like it was the same for me when I was playing with Zeiss. Like we had an incredible like you know, working together time, because like we understood each other very well. We were friends, and this is like what's important for these players as well, like to have that synergy and like, you know, talk about mistakes, like improve on laning and understand each other without even words sometimes.
How would you compare Quinn and Nothing to Say in the mid lane? Whether it's hero pool, whether it's the importance their team places on them, how would you describe them or compare them, Gunnar?
They're honestly pretty different mids. I think Quinn, when you think of him, you think of him as more either a Spirit or a counter pick. Like he played Huskar, and he plays the Necrophos, these like kind of annoying heroes that just, it feels really bad to play versus. And I would say Nothing to Say, outside of his Tinker, I think he's a lot more of, he just plays his good heroes. He's really confident playing just the same heroes all the time. He plays Ember, Pango. He plays a lot of Magnus for a really long time, which is kind of coming back in this tournament. So I think for Quinn, you're looking more for this guy to snowball the game for you and win the game for you, and nothing to say to just have a solid game plan.
All right, we'll see if they're going to draft around that. If we're going to see any new picks for them or what's going to be banned, as we do have our lower bracket grand final game 1.
LGD Gaming versus Gaming Gladiators. Game 1.
Ban Bristle is what the audience is saying. How much weight would you put into that one, Gunnar?
For LGD, I think Bristle is one of gaming's best strategies, especially because it's Ace. You allow Ace to get a carry in the off lane. That's pretty much his bread and butter. He plays Lone Druid. He used to be a carry, so it's not surprising that he's able to play the carries in the off lane, win his lane, and just have a stable game.
I don't think Bristleback is letting through, guys, ever again. I think that hero is way too hard to deal with, and you know, when the AA is banned, and like, what is the best answer for you, Gunnar, against this hero?
So I think one of the big reasons why Bristle's so strong is his counters are also meta, so it ends up that the Primal Beast gets banned, the Phoenix gets banned, the AA gets banned, and so all of your responses to Bristle are just banned due to the nature of the draft. And so it's just a strong hero now.
Yeah, and the Viper and Hood Incarnate.
Yeah,
really
the other
heroes.
ways to break him and reduce his HP regen don't really exist anymore. So
I love what LGD did against Bristleback when they were playing. They had this Magnus, and they always like break his positioning because he's always in the front. And they managed to take him with his Cure like way back into his own team. And then Muerta, like with the extra damage to stop that hero, it actually works. But and also you don't get damage from when you're in ulti, you don't get damage from spells. But yeah, it's not gonna be seen anytime soon.
I see the and the Chen ban here, so a lot of importance placed on taking out what they deem as Celery's most confident and broken heroes. But now I see Chaos Knight left in the pool as well, which is another one that has seen ban after ban after ban.
And Primal Beast is letting through too.
True, I didn't even notice that one.
I want to see Primal Beast so bad.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm begging them to ban CK. I mean, they'll probably just take it. They have first pick. I'm really glad to see the Chen ban, though. I think a lot of teams seem to be kind of disrespecting game, and I think they kind of showed early on that they're capable of this death ball type lineup. Let's go, Primal! Woo!
yeah, it's not the
All right, but they show that they can go fast and hard, and they're like super happy to just run you over. And we still see teams picking like Naga first phase against them. It's like you cannot disrespect Gaimin in this way, especially when you leave the Chen in the pool, even to the second phase. So LGD taking that Chen out, I'm very happy to see it.
Also the Enchantress, I think does the same thing. Whereas they both win their lanes, they're very stable, which leads Duraccio kind of gets to do his own thing. And Celery can help Quinn, which is, again, kind of their bread and butter. And they buy auras, they push towers really fast. It's kind of everything they want in one package.
Yeah.
I also like that LGD chose to let the Primal Beast through, because I think for Ace, that here is not really what he's looking for. Specifically because he used to play like this Lone Druid Bristleback type of hero that are more scalable, but for Primal Beast he doesn't scale as much, like in terms of like at least tower push, right? Like he's not gonna be like the hero who's gonna take all the towers from the LGD. So it's already like, I think it's good for LGD that they don't have that pressure already starting from the first pick. And I like the Chen and Enchantress bans for sure.
The nice thing with the Primal is Quinn's been practicing and playing it quite a bit in his pubs and his games. So it ends up being a flex as well, so you can't just end up just instant picking a carry counter pick or a mid counter pick, because it'll go to both. I would say they're valuing it more as an offlaner right now, just due to how kind of the map setup, that the offlaners get more farm than the mids right now, and Primal Beast is a hero that can farm really fast with just trampling over camps and waves at the same time. So it ends up just becoming a stronger core in the offlane if you get away with the lane.
Is that every team is doing that, or more Gaming Gladiators specific when you get your hands on a Primal?
I don't know if I can speak for most teams, because some teams, their offlaners don't play Primal, so it ends up just kind of being forced to mid. But for gaming, I would say right now I'd expect this to be an offlane.
Yeah. Primal's like weird when it goes offlane because it can be punishable, but there's ways to bring him back into the game. Like, for example, your 4 can go and stack like the triangle, and it's very easy for him to take stacks with trample. And also, you're kind of just waiting for this timing, right? We've seen Primals in the offlane get absolutely obliterated, but as soon as they hit that BKB timing, it's just, his spells do so much damage just alone. Like, you don't even need anything more than that BKB. That's when like games have turned around and they've made these comebacks. Primal is such a hero not to be underestimated.
I mean, it's also very hard to take him down, right? There's not a lot of things that could do that in this meta. I mean, I think Muerta would be nice, but it's already out of the question. And I mean, for Primal, usually pick they don't really go for BKBs nowadays. They also go for different item builds, like with the Blade Mail, Heart, and just straight chaos.
Usually the important thing is picking a stun for the safe lane. You want to pick a Sven, a Chaos Knight are the important ones, not just because they have the damage to like out CS the Primal, but mostly because they have a stun to prevent the trample. And something really interesting with the Phoenix is good in the game versus Primal with the Sunray just doing % damage, kind of chewing through Primal's health. But in the lane, the Fire Spirits don't really affect you. You don't attack, you're disarmed anyway while trampling. So it ends up actually being a really comfortable lane for Primal there.
I completely agree with you. I think something like Clockwork is way better than having the things there against the Primal lane.
Yeah, purely for the lane. It kind of secures, you can pick a range carry then. The popular carries versus Primal are either melee with stun or a ranged hero with kite.
I'm sure the LGD want to put this Phoenix on the offlane with the Centaur for now.
10 seconds.
Like, at least that I would be thinking about that.
I guess now for Gaimin, if they want, they have Grimstroke available for them. If they do want to, I mean, it's just good for any side lane. But if they do want Primal in the offlane, it's going to especially be nice there.
They're probably going to end up taking their carry, which is really cool from the Centaur pick, because now if Gaming wants to instantly counter, they can get carry counter pick for the side of LGD plus the lane counter with the Primal Beast. So it's kind of this weird position where if you delay your carry too long, you're allowing the Centaur to be free in the draft, and if you pick it now, you open up, you know, Duracho to get countered in the game, which we've seen him counter pick with the Razor yesterday, where it had a rough game, and I was even worried that he would carry, but he just ended up destroying the game with how good of a Razor it was.
I love this Lifestealer ban. I think it's the only two teams that are actually rating this hero at all. Because nobody else are really looking for that one. And Duracho is like, he's known for his Lifestealer as well.
Yeah, we saw it yesterday in the Azure Race series versus Betboom, and the strongest thing about the Lifestealer is that he sits in his lane for 10 to 12 minutes and you can never kick him out, which really hurts how Gaming Gliders wants to play. They want to move their heroes around, take the towers really fast, and when there's a carry that's sitting in the lane and you can never pressure into him, it feels really bad for how you want to move around the map.
Yeah, and for Gaming to have that hero on your safe lane and not care about like how to make his gameplay better and like have complete freedom on supports. You know, this is what they excel at. Like their two supports are usually running around mid lane and helping CCNC to, you know, do all this pressure and like start from the mid lane. This is like what this team is really excel at.
Bigrim did end up getting picked up by the way, Sheep. That was one that you were talking about.
It's just a really powerful hero. I mean, you play around this Inkswell, like, purge of the stuns. It makes it so hard for anyone. Like, you're playing with a Primal already who's just going to want to go in and destroy everyone. Like, this Grimstroke on top of that elevates his like strengths throughout all stages of the game, early, mid to late. I think the hero is just to be given so freely to Gaimin, I think was rough for LGD, and now they have a silencer on top of that to cover their team fight.
I mean, looking at these three heroes, like I don't really like it for Gladiators that much, just purely because they're going away from their idea of like pressuring so much, and I think it benefits LGD because in that game, like the normal game where there's not a lot of pressure, I think this is like their best chance of like taking the series down.
I also think, so the way the draft kind of plays out these days is the second phase is really hard to ban heroes, as they only get one ban for the side of LGD. So they end up picking the one hero that they think is the best, the Lifestealer, and they have to give up the Grim, they have to give up anything else. So pretty much the only bans you really get and feel confident about are the first phase, and they chose to take out pretty much Celery's heroes. They take out the Chen Ench, which I think are his top 2 right now in this tournament, and so now you see him force the silencer. And yeah, as you said, I don't really feel too confident with this, just because it's moving into, they're playing into LGD's book, I would say, and that is something that has not really gotten them to where they are right now in the tournament.
And the Shadow Demon is such a great pickup to stopping this Primal Beast from doing anything in the mid game. Like the lane might be rough a little bit, but I mean, looking at their support, right, they don't have really a good way of stopping him. But in the mid game, like playing against Purge and the Shadow Demon as a Primal Beast is actually impossible.
Yeah, it's also really good versus Grimstroke. You can purge the Inkswell anytime you see a hero. The Primal, surprisingly, it purges the charge, so he can't even charge out when he gets purged.
Yes, exactly.
And the defensive purge is really nice for Silencer too. Maybe he can click it on the Phoenix early in the fight. The Phoenix will always get stuff off. And we see the cow.
I mean, the cow is amazing here as well, because those two supports, they don't have really a good mechanic to stop him from charging. Neither it's Primal Beast, so they're gonna have to think about buying Yules on somebody. to be able to stop his charges, but it's still like we've seen so many times the Spirit Breaker is just like going first in the net first, like even after losing his lane horribly, it doesn't matter. As soon as you buy like Midas and Nocturne, you just push in every wave, and then you have this mechanic of like coming back to the fights from anywhere else. And I think it's really important in this patch to have one of those heroes that can connect easily to the fight and like being on the other side of the map. So it's either like Spectre, Dawnbreaker, or Spirit Breaker. That's why those heroes are seen more.
All right, so there's some really quick stuff. Quinn played versus Spirit Breaker mid because that's what this is. We see the Centaur, so we know that this will be Nothing to Say's hero. And it was versus 9 Pandas, Kiyotaka, and he absolutely destroyed the Spirit Breaker. And as we talked about earlier, Quinn's this type of player who you give him a counter pick like Necro versus a melee strength hero, and he's going to do some work in the game. I honestly was thinking that they might put the Primal mid because that was the matchup he played versus 9 Pandas, whereas Primal versus Spirit Breaker, he solo killed the lane, the game ended in 20-something minutes. But they picked Necro, which is, if anything, is a stronger lane now versus Spirit Breaker, so I would be really confident now just for the fact that they have a hero to play around with Quinn.
Yeah. Even like despite that, I kind of don't like the supports on LGD. I think that they're both not high on burst damage, they're pretty slow. I think it's much easier for Gaming to make moves. You talked about how they like to kind of crush early. I think now with this winning mid matchup, I think they can make much more plays, or they can even just kind of play it chill and wait for their timings on Primal or whoever, and just make sure that they're playing defensively where they use Global to cover any ganks that LGD try and make.
Yeah, it seems like they don't really think about like going to the mid game and like how Necrophos might be bid against Porch and like not, you know, like not being that tanky core. But at the same time, like they're just looking purely on lanes and they're like, this Necrophos is gonna stomp the Spirit Breaker so hard that you're gonna like, you know, completely run them over. But I'm still worried because usually their lineups, they have this good tower damage and this is how they were able to close the games out so fast. But on this lineup specifically, there's no like hero that, you know, kills tower. So they need to find some material like Turbo Blade or something from the Russia side that actually like helps them take down the objectives in this game.
A lot of their success with the Necrophos ends up pairing it with other push or other healing. They picked it with Dazzle offlane in the past, where they both just ball up and they go just end the game. And they probably picked it with Tides and Chen, so they don't really have the draft that you win 20 minutes and you walk down a lane yet. We'll see what Duracho ends up picking, but I would say it's outside of Terrorblade, that's not really his hero pool. He doesn't really pick the early game.
Alchemist.
That's one way to up the tempo.
To me, this game looks like the game won against Liquid, where they chose to go for you know, regular lineup, and it didn't really work for them, and they lost that game to Liquid. So I think that, like, to me, it looks at least that this is the game for LGD. If they manage to like get out from the lanes evenly or like not super stomped, and you know, going to the mid game, I think they have way better chances.
I want to trust this Spirit Breaker. I think Spirit Breaker is a crazy hero, but I'm too worried about the mid matchup going away for Gaming Gladiators, so I think that Quinn will just stomp the mid lane and just carry the momentum throughout the whole game.
Do you think even if the Spirit Breaker does get shut down in lane, he's still going to have that disruption in team fights and will still have an impact that could carry a later game for LGD?
If there's one hero I would want to get crushed on mid, it'd be Spirit Breaker.
Okay.
So he has that going for him.
that one small glimmer of hope.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Although, that being said, I really like Gamen's speed that they can pull up here. I think like when Alchemist gets his Blink Dagger and they're able to kind of move around the map and be really fast about it, I think LGD are going to struggle playing into this global.
Anything else you guys want to talk about very quickly, especially this arc? We've seen it a couple times for Duracho. Is it going to be that thing that ties it all together, the make or break for Gaming Gladiators? Quickly, Gunnar?
Yeah, I think the Alchemist lane is going to be really stable top, and he'll have a really good time, and just they have so much time to make space for him, just bodies on the map and pressure, that he'll have a good time farming his Radiance.
All right, I like it. Let's see how much confidence Gaming Gladiators coach has in their draft.
Thank you very much. I am standing by with CY of Gaming Gladiators, who you had a late night last night, my man. How much time did you have to prepare for today as a whole? Did you only get to prepare for LGD, or did you prepare for LGD and Spirit?
We only prepared for LGD. We didn't have that much time as well. We also want to get some sleep. It's pretty important, but one game at a time, you know? So no preparation for Spirit.
One game at a time, and you come up with a silencer. What's this guy doing in this draft for you guys?
Hopefully he silences Phoenix.
I never knew Dota was just that simple. Now, you only got to prepare for LGD, but I remember that during the Riyadh Masters, you and I got quite a few opportunities to interact, and you seemed confident in your lower bracket run. It unfortunately got cut short at 4th place. Why should I believe you this time that you're going to make it all the way?
I mean, this time we already made it to third, right? So it's better than last time. So you should just believe.
Seattle, you ready to watch some Dota? Let's get lower bracket finals started.
Let's indeed. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's LGD up against Gaming Gladiators to start off this final day of the International. Fog, we heard there from CY, coming in with a bit of a different pick this game on Gaming Gladiators' side, the Silencer. Could this be the answer to the Phoenix, a hero that we're seeing time and time again so far this tournament?
Definitely feels like a kind of cool pick, a very different one style here. Very good versus the Phoenix, but also versus these saves that we've been seeing a lot coming out in this tournament. The Shadow Demon in particular, we've seen so many games where people just get bailed out of certain death. Very difficult if you're global, so we'll have to see itemization and stuff. Of course, there's going to be some demonic cleanses that you can pre-cast and stuff like that. We'll get all into that as we do have an early smoke from LGD.
Let's see if they can get the catch here. Coming in with a wraparound, trying to enter into Gaming Gladiators' jungle, but Gaming Gladiators, they're hovering around that mid-tier 1 tower in a bit of a tough point of the map for LGD to strike.
Very unlikely somebody gets caught out here. Gaming,
yeah,
very prepared.
Super prepared.
Yep.
They know this sort of play is going to be coming out here.
I'm looking forward to this one. This looks like it should be a pretty fight-heavy style draft.
I'll say that the Diraccio and Celery, they kind of step across. Gonna set up with a disruption, you. Looking for the follow-up. Who's done the concoctions there? Tries to hold him back, doesn't matter. You still fight the who come on to Celery. Celery taken down. First blood for LGD. So if they can find something in return, Gaming Gladiators to curse upon you, they will at least get the trade. Quinn not able to get the first blood, but still getting that kill as the mid lane is going to feel pretty good for him as the Necrophos.
Especially versus that Spirit Breaker in particular, too. This is a matchup that Quinn could snowball out of control, just like the panel was talking about. Planet messing with Diracho quite a bit here.
He's going to try and make it a little bit more awkward for him on his way back towards that top lane. Extra bit of damage coming in. And he'll certainly have money to play with, as he was the one indeed to get that first blood for LGD.
Planet not hesitating whatsoever. Instantly buys out pretty much everything. I think triple mangoes purchased up, so he's looking to be pretty aggressive up here. A pretty strong lane. I don't think that we've seen too much anymore. I know the Centaur a ton, but Centaur and Shadow Demon, an old classic. Very aggressive duo.
A lot of damage. If these two start to get a bit of a level advantage, this Alchemist and Silencer could end up being very vulnerable against the huge amounts of burst that these two can come out within the laning stage. Gaming Gladiators, they've got to be careful up there.
Yeah, absolutely. This is probably the lane where lots of chaos is going to be happening. Mid lane, I think we already kind of expect the Quinn should be able to take advantage of this one massively versus nothing to say. Bottom lane, this one could also be pretty kill heavy as well too, especially for the side of Gaming already.
They're getting right in underneath the tower. Shiro in trouble. One more slap from Ace will get the job done. Shiro taken down. Ace will lose his life, but happily taking that trade. They're getting in and taking the carry out.
This is going to be bloodthirsty in these side lanes.
And overall as well, what did you sort of take away from the carry decisions from both teams? Because it was quite a quick pick with the Luna in response to the Alchemist coming out at the end from Gaming Gladiators. Do you feel this was what LGD were going for anyway, or do you think this was directly because of the Alch being picked?
I think it probably could have been something they were looking for anyway because of the Necrophos. I know Shiro, he's one of the few players that I've seen that's actually still doing this like 3-1-1 build even in the early game. He's very aggressive, likes to be involved early on, so maybe it's that mixed magical physical damage they wanted just to be able to have versus the Necro as well too. And it fits for kind of this early style with the Shadow Demon that can look to brawl and fight often. So probably a couple mixtures of things that they did want with it. Also, it's going to be very good for this night vision, of course, too. Playing with the Spirit Breaker, playing with this Luna night vision can be pretty strong inside of these team fights.
So far, looking at the last hit, that's the mid lane, as you say, as expected. The edge here for Quinn.
But look at Ace's last hits right now, bottom. Does get that kill early on, of course, but he's only got 3 to his name versus Shiro at the moment.
Getting to the point already where it's not easy for nothing to say to sort of approach this mid wave, as they will take huge amounts of damage and favorable trade going the way of it's Quinn Necrophos in this 1v1. Top lane, Diraccio. He's in a bit of trouble. He's got the concoction cooking up. Is he able to throw it out? He holds it for the deny. All right, that'll get the job done. He's out of the lane for a few seconds, but at least able to stop LGD from getting the kill against him.
But he is really struggling on the last hit department. So far, New and Planet bringing it to him. I knew didn't win yesterday, but made some pretty amazing plays on his Centaur.
Look at this in the mid lane. It's getting pretty nasty. Quinn just sort of running nothing to say right back underneath the tier 2.
He's just
what do you do at this point in this 1v1?
At the least, he can go back and he can just charge out and stuff, right? So he can make moves all over the match, but it's a matchup that he knows he's going to inevitably lose. But it is at least a hero that can make moves around and is probably one of the best recovery heroes in the game at the moment, so.
For sure. And for Gaming Gladiators, they need Quinn to be having a sort of start in the mid, because as we're seeing on the side lanes, it's not going quite as well for them.
Yeah, they need somebody to be able to rally around, especially if the Alchemist is having this slow of a start for Dyrachyo. Nice attempt there from Planet, trying to catch the wave. Unable to. Level 3, another big kill threat that they're going to be able to have up here on the side of LGD. Bottom though, Ace continuing to get aggressive.
And they've got the Inks well stunned. It'll allow them to set up to take down Why You Smile. Gladiators, whilst they might not be getting the easiest of farm here for Ace down bottom, they're finding action. Top lane, Dyrachyo. It's going to fall pretty low here to the poisons, won't quite die. And both New and Planet also getting beaten down pretty low here by Celery.
If he gets another one, could be a kill.
She's cooking up a concoction.
One more.
If anything, he's just going to allow Planet to try and find further connections, but the force not there.
Nope.
They'll turn towards Celery instead. New, he's stepping up. He's got a hoof stomp and a double A. Celery, he could be in a lot of trouble here. New will go with the right clicks alone and take Celery down. Backs away. Make sure not to use the double H to bring himself too low. Back up coming in. Nothing to say with the rotation. Charges forward on towards Dyrachyo. Dyrachyo this time will not be able to deny himself. Planet gets the kill.
I mean, these two, honestly, Planet and New yesterday were making magic happen again, putting a ton of pressure up here. The Silencer's trying to dissuade the pressure, of course, with those arcane curses, but they're just waiting, patient. And as you said there, they understand. Don't use the double edge.
Exactly.
Just go for the right clicks. Very, very calculated.
New in particular really knowing his limits on this hero, playing aggressively despite his HP being incredibly low in these situations.
And there you see right away, it's like, yeah, he's losing the mid lane on this Spirit Breaker, but I think Spirit Breaker, Primal Beast, probably two of the best heroes that can just easily make those rotations, gets a good connection. But yeah, Quinn, he definitely will be an issue that they're going to have to find some answers. And they do have answers.
I was going to say,
as game progresses, they've got the Demonic Purge. It's always going to be able to remove the Ghost Shard. They've got this massive amount of magic damage that comes from Phoenix and potentially from the Luna. As he's not going for the beam build just yet, but of course he'll have those points in later.
So overall for LGD, the fact that they know that Quinn's getting this completely uninterrupted free farm in the mid lane, you don't think they're too concerned about that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's going to be, of course, a lot of plays that happen with these, global silences that can just potentially save Quinn versus a lot of the burst and whatnot, but they probably feel like they do have some answers since they have that mixed magic.
Nothing to say, shows in the mid.
That's deep. They lift the wave.
Ofu not quite able to connect with the initial slow. See, Quinn should be able to close in with the Inkswell buff upon him. He's got the sights ready to drop down. If he feels that the kill's going to be there, he'll drop it, and he's got it. Quinn able to take down, nothing to say. Same time up top, though. Dyrachyo and a spot of bother being chased out by LGD. Completely surrounded by the three of them. Disruption's there to try and mess up the ability for him to fry his concoction. And will self-stun and cause the stun to hit onto New, but it won't save Dyrachyo as he goes down once again.
Planet actually even holding the poisons. I think maybe just saving that kill there for New. Some calculation coming in 5-4. Action-packed early game.